What if I told you that you could build an award-winning portfolio website in minutes, not months? Now, if you look at the portfolios that win major design awards, the ones featured on platforms like FWA, they often look incredibly polished and interactive and thoughtfully designed. Smooth animations, clean layouts, unique visual identity, the kind of websites that make you think, there's no way I could build anything like that. And that's exactly where most designers get stuck, because traditionally creating a portfolio at that level can take months. You spend weeks refining the concept, obsessing over tiny details, learning complex frameworks, fixing responsiveness issues, optimizing performance, and trying to make everything work across a bunch of devices. And then before you know it, 4 months have passed and the portfolio still isn't finished. But the process doesn't have to look like that anymore. By the end of this video, you're going to have a complete portfolio site that not only looks professional, but it could genuinely compete with the kind of designs that you see winning awards today. Also, later in the video, I'm going to show you how to build the portfolio website with the best website builder at this moment, Base 44. I added a special link in the description so you can go ahead and check them out too. Now, if you want to master Base 44 and learn how to build a profitable website, SaaS, and mobile app with AI, of course, I've created a complete masterclass that shows you exactly how to do it step by step. And usually this costs $299, but for the people watching this video, you can go ahead and join completely free. Check the link again in the description below to get free access to my Base 44 masterclass, and you can start building your AI-powered business today. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So most designers think that an award-winning portfolio comes down to flashy visuals and complex animations or some kind of over-the-top creative presentation. But if you do look closely at the portfolios that actually get recognized in the industry, you're going to notice something interesting. They're usually not the loudest or the most complicated at all. In fact, they're often the simplest. So what makes them stand out isn't just how they look, it's the clarity behind the idea. At the core of every strong portfolio is a clear concept and a unique value proposition. In simple terms, this means understanding what makes you different as a designer and communicating that honestly. Some portfolios kind of lean into a more formal and polished approach, while others focus on being raw, authentic, and personal. Neither is inherently better than the other. What matters is that your portfolio reflects who you are and the kind of work that you want to attract. So authenticity almost always beats polish because people just connect more with real perspectives. Now, another thing that separates strong portfolios from forgettable ones is storytelling. A lot of designers simply just upload finished pieces and think, hey, I'm done, calling it a day. But the best portfolios don't just show the final result, they explain the journey behind the work, they highlight the problem being solved, the thinking behind the decisions, and the impact of the final income. So when someone views your portfolio, they shouldn't just see visuals, they should understand the thinking behind them. And this is also why concept matters more than flashy visuals. And you can have the most visually impressive layout in the whole wide world, but if the idea behind the work is unclear, well, it won't leave a lasting impression. Clients, collaborators, and even award judges tend to remember the reasoning behind a project more than the aesthetic details. So from a design perspective, award-worthy portfolios also follow a few consistent principles. And one of the most common ones is keeping the design minimal and type-focused. So instead of filling the screen with decorative elements, the layout instead emphasizes structure and hierarchy and readability. Clean typography with clear hierarchy and thoughtful spacing helps guide the viewer's attention. Color is usually used with restraint as well. Many strong portfolios rely on just 2 or 3 core colors to create a refined and cohesive look while keeping the focus on the work itself. And finally, there's the role of white space. So instead of filling every part of the screen, strong portfolios use space intentionally to guide attention and give the work room to breathe. So that kind of restraint signals confidence and allows your work to truly stand out. Now, another reason many designers struggle to launch their portfolio is the perfectionism trap. It's very easy to fall into a cycle of endlessly tweaking the small details, adjusting spacing just by a few pixels, and changing fonts repeatedly or redesigning sections that were already working fine. And the problem is that most of these changes are things that users, maybe you and I, would never even notice. As a result, the portfolio never actually gets published because the designer is always trying to make it just a little bit better. And at some point, it's just important to recognize when good enough is actually perfect for launch. A strong portfolio does not need to be flawless. It just needs to be functional, professional, and easy to navigate. Instead of chasing impossible standards, it's just much more effective to ship the portfolio once it meets those core goals. And after that, you can always improve it over time based on real feedback rather than hypothetical concerns. Another major challenge is the technical side of building a portfolio from scratch. Custom coding can quickly become overwhelming, especially if you're not even a full-time developer and you have to deal with frameworks and dependencies and deployment setups and a really long list of technical decisions that require years of experience to handle efficiently. Responsive design adds another layer of complexity because your portfolio has to work across different screen sizes, which means managing multiple breakpoints and dealing with browser inconsistencies. And on top of that, there's more. There's performance optimization, things like caching and database setup and content delivery networks. Like what? All of which affect how fast the site loads. And because of these challenges, many designers just kind of end up hiring developers to build their portfolio instead. But then that can easily cost anywhere from $50 to $150 per hour, or even $50,000 or more for a full custom project. And for many of us creatives, that level of cost and technical complexity does become a major barrier to simply launching a portfolio in the first place. So now this is where AI completely changes the entire process. Traditionally, building a professional portfolio can take you months. You have to plan the layout and design mockups and then handle revisions, and you write the code and then you test everything and then deploy the final site. And for many designers, that entire process can easily stretch to 3 or 4 months at least. But with tools like Base 44, that timeline can shrink dramatically from months of coding down to just a few minutes of prompting. And the biggest difference is that you don't need any coding knowledge at all. Rather than writing complex code, you can just simply describe what you want in plain English, and then Base 44 handles the structure, the layout, the responsiveness, and all the technical setup automatically for you. Moreover, it also includes built-in best practices and award-winning templates, which means you're starting with a very strong foundation right from the get-go. So to begin, we will start with a simple prompt describing the portfolio we want to build. And in this case, we're going to ask Base 44, "Hi Base 44, please create a design-focused portfolio website for a VFX artist. Make it modern, mobile responsive, and captures all the necessary info for an established VFX artist." And right away, Base 44 generates the basic structure of the portfolio, including the layout, the navigation, and main sections. And from here, we can start refining the design in real time. So for example, we can enhance the hero section by adding a more dynamic background. And to do that, we just simply prompt an additional prompt. Add a 3.js background to make it more stunning. And that's it. Next, we can expand the portfolio by adding a new section specifically for film projects and 3D work. And then we'll just do that with another prompt. Add a new portfolio section that's specific for 3D objects. Make it a 3.js viewer. And finally, let's just polish the experience by improving the interactions across the site. And that's smooth scrolling and subtle animations, which can make the portfolio feel a lot more professional. So let's ask Base 44. Great job. Now please add custom animations when scrolling, transitions, and make the entire website better overall. And with just a few prompts, as you've seen, the portfolio is now far more dynamic and interactive. And the good thing here is that we didn't have to spend months, right, building and coding everything manually. No, because now Base 44 allows us to generate the structure, to refine the design, and add advanced interactions simply by just describing what we want. Once the portfolio structure is in place, the next thing that really does elevate it are the interactive details. And these are the small touches that make a website feel very polished and professional. Things like hover effects, micro interactions, and smooth scrolling can make a big difference in how the portfolio feels when someone is browsing it. Instead of everything feeling just static, subtle animations on buttons and images and cards create a more engaging experience. And if we scroll through the website, you can see here on your screen how these interactions make the navigation actually feel fluid. Sections transition smoothly into each other, elements just animate naturally, and the overall experience just feels a lot more dynamic. And it's these types of micro interactions that are common in award-winning portfolios because they do guide the viewer's attention while also making the site feel modern and responsive. Another important factor is mobile responsiveness. A lot of portfolios look great on a desktop, but once that all shrinks down to a smaller screen, it kind of falls apart. So with Base 44, this is handled automatically. The layout just adjusts across devices without needing to manually configure breakpoints or write additional code. So whether the portfolio is viewed on a desktop, a tablet, or on our phone, everything just remains clean and easy to navigate. Now, beyond the visual experience, content strategy also plays a major role in strong portfolio. So, for example, many designers work on projects that are protected by NDAs, right? So instead of skipping those projects completely, you can still just showcase them through mockups, process descriptions, or anonymized results that highlight the work without revealing confidential details. So your About section is also more important than many people think. And this is where you kind of balance personality with professionalism. A strong section tells your story, explains your perspective as a designer, and helps your visitors understand the kind of work that you care about without feeling overly personal or overly corporate. And finally, there is discoverability. A portfolio isn't very useful if people can't find it. So Base 44 includes built-in SEO optimization, which helps handle things like meta tags, sitemaps, and performance improvements automatically. And that way, the portfolio is not only visually strong, but also easy to discover online. Since the core portfolio is built, the next step is customizing it so it truly reflects your personal brand. A portfolio should not feel like a template, it should feel like your own creative space. So Base 44 makes this process simple by letting you just adjust key design elements directly from the dashboard or through prompts. So first, we're going to connect to a custom domain, and inside the dashboard here, there's a section where you can set your domain so the portfolio runs on your own professional URL instead of a default link. And this will immediately make the portfolio just a lot more credible and polished. Next, we can customize the brand colors, of course. So for example, we can prompt Base 44 with something like this. Please change the brand's color to a very heavily red and blue inspired theme. And right away, the site updates with the new color palette, giving the portfolio a distinct visual identity. And from there, typography can also be adjusted through the edit mode. Changing the font style and hierarchy can really subtly shift the personality of the entire portfolio, helping it better match your design style. And you can also replace any placeholder visuals with your own work, of course. So for instance, after uploading an image through chat, we can just simply prompt, please change the photo used in Fractured Reality. Use this photo I have instead. And then Base 44 will then update the project with the new image, allowing your actual work to take center stage. And once the customization is complete, the portfolio can be published directly from the platform. And Base 44 also provides built-in hosting and analytics, so there is no need to configure third-party services. You can monitor your site performance and visitor data directly from your dashboard. And on top of that, the site automatically remains mobile responsive across all of your devices, and it loads quickly thanks to optimized assets and includes built-in security features like SSL certificates and data protection. So all of the technical infrastructure is obviously handled behind the scenes, which allows you to focus entirely on presenting your work. And to see how powerful this approach can be, I'm going to show you some real examples built with Base 44. So for instance, there's this well-known chartdetector.ai website, which was even featured in Business Insider, as well as an application called Career Hub created by a regular user on the platform. So these examples show that projects built with Base 44 aren't just quick experiments. They can reach real audiences and gain serious recognition. Another big difference is the time it takes to build something like this. With traditional development, of course, there's creating a portfolio website, and that can take anywhere from, say, 3 to 6 months or longer. And that process usually involves planning meetings and design mockups and revisions and more revisions and coding and testing and finally deployment. But with Base 44, the entire process can just really happen much faster. From the first prompt to a published portfolio, the build can take as little as 15 to 30 minutes, reducing the timeline by more than 99%. And the cost difference is just as dramatic, because hiring developers for a custom portfolio site can easily cost between $50 and $150 per hour, or even 50 grand or more for a full project. On top of that, you still have to pay for hosting and maintenance every year. Base 44, on the other hand, just works on a subscription model that typically charges 16 to 40 bucks per month, which comes to around 192 to $480 per year. That's a massive cost reduction while still delivering professional quality results. And because Base 44 includes those built-in best practices and award-worthy templates and clean design frameworks, the final portfolios still meet the standards expected in the design industry. The layouts are polished, the interactions feel smooth and natural, and the overall presentation just aligns with what judges and clients typically look for in high quality portfolios. Now, if you want to follow this process yourself, really, the easiest way is to just break it down into three simple phases: preparation, building, and launch. Now, first is the preparation phase. Before building anything, it is important to gather your best work samples. Instead of adding everything you've ever made, just focus on selecting maybe, let's say, 3 to 5 strong projects that really showcases your skills and range. And at the same time, write a short value proposition, just 2 or maybe 3 sentences explaining what makes you different as a designer or a developer. And this helps give your portfolio a clear identity right from the start. And once that's ready, we can move into the building phase. So after signing up for Base 44, we can simply describe the portfolio we want to create. So say for instance, we can start with a prompt like this: I need a portfolio website for a web development studio. Please make this heavily mobile optimized and has comprehensive info for each project finished, as well as live previews to the site through a redirected link. And with that, Base 44 will immediately generate the structure of the website, including the main sections and the layout. And from there, we can just refine and expand it by adding more projects and details. So let's say, please add more portfolio elements. I've attached 2 photos. Please create more info about it. And then these projects are called Ruins and The Future. Both are websites for games and films. Furthermore, please make the theme dark red. And then this allows us to quickly customize the portfolio by adding project descriptions and images and visual adjustments through simple prompts. Finally comes the launch phase. And once the portfolio looks the way that you actually want, you can just go ahead and connect a custom domain directly from the dashboard here and then publish the site. And after that, it's always a good idea, of course, to test the portfolio across different device sizes, from desktop, tablet, and mobile, to make sure that everything looks correct. And once everything is working properly, the final step is just simply sharing it. So add the portfolio to your social media profiles, include it in your email signature, and then share it across professional networks so that people can really start discovering your work. So overall, when you look at everything together, it's definitely clear why Base 44 stands out as such a powerful solution for building portfolios. One of the biggest advantages is the amount of time that it actually saves. Because just like what I kept on mentioning earlier, you don't have to spend months designing and coding and troubleshooting an entire website. You can just build a fully functional portfolio in minutes just by describing what you want. And that means you can go from idea to launch on the same day. Cost is also another major factor. Traditional portfolio development often requires hiring multiple developers, which can easily cost tens of thousands of dollars. And on top of that, you still have to pay separately for your hosting, your maintenance, and other technical services. But then again, with Base 44, everything is already included in a simple subscription that typically ranges between $16 and $40 per month, making it dramatically more affordable while still delivering professional results. And the quality of those results is also a big reason why the platform just works so well. Base 44 includes award-worthy templates and design best practices already built directly into the system. And that means the layouts, the typography, and the structure already follow strong design principles, helping your portfolio look a lot more polished from the start. Another advantage is that the platform is future-proof. Yeah, instead of constantly updating your website or rebuilding it whenever technology changes, Base 44 just handles all those platform updates automatically and integrates the latest AI improvements all behind the scenes. Your portfolio can continue running smoothly without, constant maintenance. And finally, Base 44 works as a complete package. Hosting, analytics, custom domain, security features like SSL certificates, and performance optimization are all handled inside one platform. So instead of juggling multiple tools and services, everything you need to build, launch, and maintain your portfolio is already managed all in one place. And that's really the biggest shift happening right now. that the barriers that used to slow designers down, coding, technical complexity, months of development, all of those are no longer the things standing between you and a professional portfolio. So, what used to take months of work can now be done, as you've seen, in minutes with the help of AI. All right, so I appreciate you sticking around and investing your time with me today. I'll see you at the next one.